the formal question portion of the debate, it is now time for each candidate to have their opportunity for their 2-minute closing remarks, beginning with Mr. Lee.
Thanks again to all of you for coming tonight. It's an honor for me to be with you this evening. It's also an honor for me to announce that I've got the endorsement of our next U.S. Congressman, Morgan Philpott. He's a good friend, and he'll be an outstanding congressman, and we're very lucky to have him. Although this is a time of great peril and uncertainty for our country and its economy, it's also a time in which we can be very optimistic. We can be optimistic because Americans are understanding the truth again. Just like a few hundred years ago when Gutenberg invented the printing press, and all of a sudden lots of people had access to the Bible. They could read the words themselves. They could understand the stories themselves. They didn't have to rely on an intermediary. People across this country are starting to read the Constitution again for the first time in a long time. That's really what the Tea Party movement is all about. That is the one factor that will make 2010 different than any election year that any of us have seen in our lifetimes. This is going to be a year that revolutionizes American politics. It will move us toward more limited, more sustainable, more respectful government, especially at the federal level. Remember, as we go through this, that the change that we need in Washington, that change that we're trying to get in Washington tomorrow, begins today. It begins with your vote in Utah today. It all begins right here. Now, when I'm elected to the U.S. Senate, I will be one voice, one among 100. But I won't be alone. Senator Jim DeMint of South Carolina, who endorses my candidacy, will be there. And I'll be a second voice for constitutionally limited government. But there will be others, including Marco Rubio from Florida, who I met a few weeks ago. He'll be elected. He shares my view. He'll be a third. Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania will be a fourth. Rand Paul from Kentucky will be a fifth. Ken Buck from Colorado will be a sixth. And Sharon Angle in Nevada will defeat Harry Reid, and she'll be a second. As we approach this election, just remember, the government is yours. We don't work for the government, it works for us. And the Constitution is the rule book. I'll use that rule book to fight for your rights, your liberties, and your property.
So it's a pleasure to have campaigned for the last 7 months and to have expressed my vision for this country. I was fortunate to receive 57.28% of the vote at convention after spending hours and hours, in some cases 20 hours, where delegates came together to decide who should best represent this state going forward on issues important to the nation. I've been honored to have met so many Republicans and so many great citizens throughout this state and have shared my vision. I believe it is a vision that is needed in this country. I think we are part of a movement. Thomas Jefferson said we need a revolution every 20 years. Well, it's been about 30 since we had the Reagan Revolution. And we are now on the beginning front end of a major revolution in this country where we are going to take back our rights and our freedoms. As we campaign, we clearly have serious differences. I hope you will focus on the real differences. My opponent has challenged and campaigned in television and mail saying that I received stimulus monies and that I pursued earmarks. That's blatantly false and misleading. I hope you go to my website and look at the facts, because that part is not true. Yes, I helped the company right here in Utah get money for a feasibility study. That money is going to create jobs at the University of Utah and a company right here in Provo. I'm proud of my business career. I've been working with entrepreneurs to build businesses for a long time. I understand what that means. I understand that when you get to a Friday as a business owner and you cannot make the entire payroll, you write a check out for everybody on your staff except yourself. That is experience that is missing today in Washington, D.C. I hope to be the voice of reason, the voice to challenge the status quo. I'm not only going to promote term limits. I am willing to live by the term limit proposal that I propose. That differentiates me from my opponent. He's willing to promote term limits, but not willing to live by them. I think we need people who will go and do exactly what they say they're going to do. If you're not willing to live by what you propose, don't propose it. Don't just use it for positioning in the political arena. We have had way too much of that. If I'm elected as your senator, I will bring honor and dignity to this race. I will campaign tough on the issues. Where there are differences on issues, I'll point them out, and I will try and make sure that we bring back a legacy that future generations can be proud of. We are bankrupting the nation today. There are serious issues on the horizon. If we don't turn this country around and stop spending, we are going to pass on a bad legacy to future generations. If I'm elected as your senator, every day I'm in office, every month, every year, I will fight to make sure that we get our budget balance, that we deliver to future generations a legacy that we as a generation can be proud of and that they can be grateful for. That's my objective. I hope you vote Tim Bridgewater for the U.S. Senate.